Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Today, we are coming to you from Pemberton, New Jersey at the Giberson Farm Wildlife Preserve, and I am here with Dan Grdovic. One take, baby.
One take.
Dan Grdovic from the Cnjfo, the Coalition of New Jersey Firearm Owners. And Dan is the first real person who is riding shotgun. Woo! You know what, Dan? Nice rack.
Are you frightened?
Right.
I mean, that's supposed to frighten everyone.
Not at all. I'm not frightened because I have some Leadslingers hand sanitizer. We're going to sanitize up. It is what?
Very, very watery.
I told you it's watery. Everyone, you know, people think it's funny, but it's watery.
It's like vodka watery.
Wodka.
Yeah.
I went to Poland a long time ago, and I learned how to say 4 words, which was 3 phrases.
Okay.
Beer, please, vodka, please, and ice cream, please.
Okay.
That's all I needed to know. All right.
Well, you're not going to clue me in? You're going to leave me hanging like that?
No. What, did I go to Poland?
No. Beer, please.
Oh, beer, please.
How do you say?
Oh.
Put you on the spot.
Thanks, man. Beer was pivo.
Okay, that's the same as Croatian. Interesting.
Vodka was wodka.
Wodka, yeah.
And ice cream was lodi.
Okay.
All right, where'd they go? They're not going that way.
No, we're going to go.
All right, we'll see you guys. We don't have the camera on the hood because we used that memory card for some video of me doing some bird hunting. And we're down here at the Giberson Farm Wildlife Preserve because you guys have just hosted a Hunting Pheasants with Charlie.
Yes, we have.
And this was my first time doing any pheasant hunting or any real hunting. So,
So what did you think of it?
I thought it was great. I thought it was really cool. These the guide that I had, his name was Joe, and he had 2 dogs. He had Otis, and then he had Otis's dad, Buster, and it was really cool to see the dogs working. Like these things are on, like they're on.
Oh yeah.
They're like running all over the place, and they're ahead of you and behind you and all over the place. And then when they see a bird, they just freeze. You know, the tail wags, the whale tags, the tail wags, and then when they see a bird, they just freeze and they stop. Right. It's wild.
So for everybody else's information, most of the dogs they run here are Brittany Spaniels. Okay. Okay. The guides are local folks who do this as a side job, and yes, watching the dogs run is just absolutely incredible. Seeing a dog with a job to do and doing that job is so different than having a pet at home.
Oh, sure.
When you see a dog with a job and them doing it well, it's really, really interesting. Perhaps you've seen police dogs in the past, but hunting dogs are just incredible. And yes, they'll go tearing down the strip of land. You can't really see it in the camera here, but there's a strip of scrub. Giberson's is a corn farm in the summer, and in the winter they do this where we pheasant hunt. So they leave some of the corn stalks up, and some of the birds hide in there. And yes, the dog will go tearing down and then come to a screeching halt. The tail sometimes will stop, or sometimes will wag, but clearly the dog is on point, and there's a bird there. You know,
it's pretty wild.
It's pretty wild, right?
And then the guide would see it, and he's like, all right, we got a cock or a rooster, and he's like, here's where it is. Cock or a hen, sorry.
That's okay.
See, I gotta learn.
No, it's good.
And then they would...
you probably want to turn around.
Yeah, we're going to turn around right here.
Oh, boom, boom. Oof. Couple of shots.
Couple of shots
in the background.
I don't know if you can hear those. Yeah, we're not in Trenton.
No, they're shooting at the bird, not at us.
The birds, exactly. Yeah, and he goes over and kicks the... I don't say kicks the bird up, but... the bird
but he does.
Yeah, he scares the bird up.
He uses his foot, and the bird goes up flying in the air, and then everybody tries to take a shot and actually knock the bird down. And sometimes we're actually successful.
Sometimes. So how did you do?
Our group got 14 of the 24 or 25 birds that were put out. Some of the birds flew over into neighboring properties where they don't have permission to hunt, so we're not allowed to chase them.
Son of a bitch.
But everybody went. Everybody that wanted birds went home with birds.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Some you took the entire bird.
I did. I took the whole thing. Hey guys, I think my crew or squad or whatever you want to call it, we got 12 birds.
Okay.
Out of 24 or 25, and we what? I think I got 4 birds and then like 2 assists.
Nice.
So I know there were a couple of assists that I missed, but it was really cool. What I really liked about it is, and this is the same. I did some trap shooting with John Petrolino and Rosie.
Okay.
A couple months ago. You got a squad that's going out doing sporting clays, and everyone kind of falls into a routine. Mm-hmm. And this guy shoots, this guy throws the clays, this guy keeps score, and this guy's on deck, and we just rotate it out.
Around.
And it's not like, well, I'm going to go first. There's no arguing. It's just like, okay, who wants to go first? You go first. All right, good. You do this. I'll do this. I'll do that. He'll do this. And everyone just kind of falls into place. And it was the same thing with this, where we were walking down the rows, mm-hmm. and there were 2 guys on one side and 3 people on the other, and Rosie was using a muzzleloader, and everyone said, okay, well, if it's, you're going to take the first shot, and if he misses, then you can take a second shot, and that's just kind of how we did. And then after we shot one, we would rotate out, so the next person would take the shot first. Mm-hmm. It was really cool.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun.
You were a new hunter for this.
Yes.
We had a young man, 15 years old. His first hunt was here today.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
His father brought him along. His father's hunted for years, but this. Yeah. So it goes back to that Cnjfo thing of education, right? Constantly putting the sport out there, the sport of firearms, to the public, and putting it out there in a positive light, right?
Yeah.
So kid took some birds.
That's awesome.
Probably better than me. But I haven't hit the trap field in quite a while, and
That's all right. So, we don't hold it against you. All right, let's get rid of your shotgun,
because we're still in New Jersey.
We're still in New Jersey.
So as soon as we step off a private property, it's like we're in Massachusetts.
That's cold. That's cold. All right. Uno momento.
Okay, cut.
Rock on. We haven't gone fast enough for the doors to lock.
Nope.
All right, while he is putting a shot... Nope, you can go. While Dan is putting a shotgun away, I want to tell you about the Riding Shotgun with Charlie patches. You can get these at ridingshotgunwithcharlie.com on the swag and merch page. And you can also get some Riding Shotgun and Gungram stickers. Dan doesn't know this, but I'm going to give him some of these at the end of the show. You can also, if you like the Riding Shotgun logo, or if you like the Gungram logo, you can get these at the Teespring store, and that's teespring.com/stores/Riding Shotgun with Charlie. You can buy Gungram. You can buy, this is the first one I bought, the Riding Shotgun with Charlie t-shirt. I've got t-shirts, I've got hoodies, I've got coffee mugs with both the Riding Shotgun and the Gungram logo. The Riding Shotgun logo, I have a number of different camos on there, and if you like camos, if you like the stripes, if you like water, you can get the coffee mugs. I call them whiskey mugs. You can get a coffee mug or a whiskey mug at the Teespring store. So teespring.com/Riding Shotgun with Charlie. All of the proceeds from that go to getting the Stagecoach across America. I have filmed shows in 25 states and Washington, D.C., and my goal for 2021 is to knock out the 5 more states that are east of the Mississippi and then start to head west of the Mississippi. So that's the game plan. All right, let's go. Let's rock. Let's go back to occupied territory.
Occupied territory.
It's only a few hundred feet away. All right, so how did you get to gun stuff? How did you get into gun stuff? Did you go shooting and hunting when you were a kid?
No. Not at all.
Not at all.
I was in my late teens, early 20s, and I went to see my cousin.
Yeah.
In Connecticut.
Ironically, the Constitution state.
Mm-hmm. There's a Constitution. And we have a state for it?
State of Constitution.
Okay. He takes me shooting at an indoor range. We start on 22, work up to a 9mm, and then do the 1911 45.
Cool.
And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And I came back home and I'm like, okay, how do I do this? And I find out about all this paperwork.
Ugh.
You know, hoop.
Right.
And I go and I get the paperwork. And I put it in a drawer.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and then I moved out on my own. Mm-hmm. And I go and get the paperwork. And I put it in a drawer.
We'll take a left, all right.
So, and we'll go through this, but that to me is a systemic problem in New Jersey, and that's exactly why they want the schemes, and they call them schemes, exactly as they are, because it discourages people from applying and getting their license.
Yeah.
So we get to 2008, just about.
I think that was one of
our birds.
Yes,
probably.
Somebody drove up, right? A lot harder to drive a vehicle over the bird than it is to shoot it, but
well, hey, any way you can, right?
Right.
So
right.
September of 2008, I see what's coming with the presidential election, and I'm like, oh, he's going to take our guns away.
Yeah.
I don't have any. I better get on this. And finally said enough of this, being afraid of the system, and went and applied. And the first time you apply, you're like, okay, well, how many pistol permits should I put down for? Oh, let me not look too eager. I'll put down one.
Right.
Well, come to find out, none of that matters. Right? But it's that same kind of thinking of keeping you down.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So it took about. The first time took about 2.5 months. The town never notified me that my paperwork was back. So you get your paperwork back. Oh, by the way, the clock is already ticking on your permit because your permit expires. Your permit.
Right.
Purchase a pistol.
The P2P is only good for 30 days?
90 and extendable to another 90. So, but no more than 180 from the first day. In other words, if you wait 92 days and you go to get it redone, it's only 180 days. It's not 182 days because, well,
right, it's back to square one.
And then not only that, you had to take that paper form back to the police station for the chief or whomever to sign off on it again. That could lose you another week in the process there, depending on your town. Some towns wouldn't extend. Wow. So yeah, well, there was this patchwork of what this town would do and what that town would do. So I finally get all my stuff in order, and I go and I buy a gun, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And I started applying for more permits, and then found a group on the internet, a gun forum group on the internet, joined that, learned a lot from those people, made amazingly lifelong friends from that group. One of the guys relocated to Florida. We still talk regularly.
Cool.
Another guy actually happens to be now in my town. Well, I moved to the town he was living in. So, yes. How'd you know? Oh no, we're gonna go right. I'm sorry.
Well, we're
gonna go left now. Too bad. We're going left. We're here. We're going left.
We're going
My
left.
bad. I should have.
That's all right, man. We're just gonna get on a road and we're gonna drive.
Yeah,
that's fine.
So that kind of brought me into that, and then I wanted to get into hunting and find what it's about. And one of the guys on the gun forum was saying, "Hey, I'm taking my Vizsla out for pheasant hunting. You want to tag along?" Sure, I want to tag along. I want to see what this is all about.
Right.
His Vizsla wasn't finished. She was not like these dogs. We still had a great time.
Yeah.
Dogs still chased pheasants, and there was a runner like you saw. I'm sure you saw a runner today.
That was pretty cool.
Half of them prefer to run than fly.
And you can't shoot them.
And you can't shoot them on the ground because that's not sporting, right? It's a bird. It's supposed to be in the air when you shoot it. So, so that kind of started that, and then I was like, okay, that's neat. Well, how about deer hunting, and then I knew nothing and went out on my own and did deer hunting. Yeah, that was much like you described it.
Right. My story is I got a tree, camouflage and a bow and in a tree stand, and I sit in the tree stand and read a book and drop the book and take a nap and wonder what the hell I'm doing.
Well, and generally, my hunting experience related to that would be not only doing that but freezing too.
Oh my God, absolutely. I have some cheap rubber camo boots I bought at Walmart for $7 because I'm that tactically frugal, Tony Simon, and I said to myself, I'm not going to spend $170 on warm boots until I start to harvest something, because then it's just a...
Well, that could be self-fulfilling prophecy now too, because if you can't stay out there that long, you can't hunt that long. Therefore, you have less chances.
Exactly. I'm out there for 2 or 3 hours and I'm done.
Yeah. Deer hunting is truly hunting.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
You are not guaranteed to win. You're going to be looking hard and long, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they call it hunting and not shooting.
So yeah.
And I love talking to my anti-gun friends that are like, "Oh, you go to the woods, you're just gonna kill Bambi." I wish. They're like, it's not fair. You're right, it's not fair. They smell better, they hear better, they see differently. You're right, it is not fair. Everything is set against me to go out and harvest a deer.
And when I'm out bow hunting, they're in gun range.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And when I'm out gun hunting, they're not there.
Oh my God. It's like they're out there. They know when you're going to go out there, and you get out there, and they give you the middle hoof.
Right. So I joined a hunting club. Actually, it was more like pledging a fraternity, getting into it. But I joined a hunting club, and one of the guys there says, or one of the previous members has said that the deer read the compendium. The compendium is the Fish and Wildlife Digest of when the seasons are, when you can shoot and when you can't shoot. If you're allowed to shoot half an hour before sunrise, legal sunrise, they're out there 59 minutes before, right? Or 5 minutes after the sun goes down. The last hour, right?
Turkeys do the same thing.
Turkeys.
People are like, oh, the turkeys are out there. It's not hunting season yet.
Right.
And then hunting season comes, turkeys are gone.
Right.
Gone.
Turkey season, I'll see tons of deer. Deer season, I'll see turkey. It's frustrating, but it's hunting, right? In some ways, it's not that different than fishing, where you're waiting for something to come along and hit this hook, right?
Right. What I say this, what I like about fishing is what I like about golfing, and that's smoking cigars.
Okay, there you go.
So, I think I've said this before. I was smacked with a fish when I was a kid.
Oh.
And I'm not a big fan of fish. I grew up in the Midwest.
Oh yeah, you didn't have much fish in the Midwest.
Yeah, I like meat, corn, and potatoes.
Okay.
So I'm not a fish guy. I don't like to eat fish. I guess that would be the ultimate revenge, is to eat it, but...
it is.
I'm not going to eat it either.
I was always concerned as a kid about getting the fish bones in my throat. So,
oh, sure.
That was a huge negative to me, right?
Yeah.
And my dad is from Croatia. He came over in the mid-'60s, and he lived on a spit of land in Croatia there that had a bay and an ocean, and fish was the main dish.
Fish was the dish.
They had a farm and a vineyard. So his father was pretty well known in town for his wine, and his mother was pretty well known for the way she could prepare things. Okay. So she would butcher things.
Wow.
Okay.
That's wild.
And he had learned how to butcher pigs. Not that he's a butcher now, but he had learned how to butcher pigs, because on the farm, if you don't do everything yourself, you don't make any money.
It doesn't get done, right?
Or it doesn't get done. So, he tells a story about one day about his mother trying to hand him the knife as he was wrestling the pig, and she nearly stabbed him and got him, and he's like, just stay out. Right?
I gotta get the pig to tap out before we kill it.
Right? Yeah. So he would just go in and grab the pig around the neck and wrestle it to the ground, get it down, and then
that's cool.
Quite a ball.
That's crazy.
So my cousin took me, and his father was a Korean War vet, so they had guns all the time. But So this, and then all of a sudden, just kind of like, all of a sudden I'm a collector, right? Like you turn around and one day and you go, oh wow, yeah, I guess I have a collection.
How many does it take to make a collection?
I would say more than 4 or 5.
More than 4 or 5.
Okay.
You know how many guns is enough?
One more than you have.
Just one more. Exactly.
So yeah, so it's always it's interesting. And now I get together. Oh, bummer.
What's that?
I get together with that same cousin, and we've got something coming up in 2 weeks where we're getting together to have a boys' weekend and go shooting. So
very cool.
Yeah.
This is not going well.
No.
So this might get edited. It might not.
Well, that's okay. You have the other 2 cameras. We're good.
I know. No.
You got.
Oh shit.
You got more than enough in a spare. You want to pull over?
Nope.
Nope. We're just gonna.
Look, Ma, no hands. Right.
You got
right.
it?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm sure the person behind me thinks I'm an idiot. There we go.
Hey, back in
Rock and roll,
business.
back in biz.
Okay.
Highly trained professional.
Right. Forgive my assumption that you wanted me to steer.
This is why I have people, right? Ken Blanchard says anyone that gives you a gun is family. Anyone that wants to take your gun is an enemy. So you saw that I couldn't drive because I had to put 2 hands to put the camera back up.
Right.
You take over driving.
Yeah. Well,
this is what people do.
I turned the climate back on because we're going to go around, and I think that we'll go left.
All right.
So
Should we
go
just
around
stay on
3/4 of the way? No, let's go 70 east.
All right. So you're. Whoa, hey.
Yeah, welcome to Jersey. So you're going to bear right at the next one.
Usually in Massachusetts, when the way let people know that you're turning is you don't do the hand signals, you do the finger signals.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so Chris, was it Chris? Took you hunting?
No.
Took you shooting?
My cousin. Matt.
Your cousin, sorry.
Took me shooting, yes. Yep. So, yeah, and that started all of this. And then hunting I just got into on my own.
Yeah.
And then I was a big mouth on the internet, and Matt Andrus saw that and pinged me for helping out with the coalition when we were getting started.
Oh, cool.
He knew I was a grammar Nazi, so he's not.
So it's good to have somebody like you to dot all the I's and cross all the T's.
It was necessary in the beginning there. Matt had some great ideas.
Mm-hmm.
He needed a lot of wordsmithing, as Rosie would put it. Okay. So we did a lot of wordsmithing in the beginning and got a lot of stuff together, and then time came for a change, and here I am, the president.
Cool.
So interim for now. We'll see what happens.
He's been the interim for 3 years.
No, I'm the interim since last February, right before COVID. So it's a year and a month.
Cool.
Yeah.
So all right. So you did the. When was this? When the coalition got formed?
About 6 years ago now.
About 6 years ago. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then you did all the word stuff for it, and we're just a member.
So I started with doing this wordsmithing stuff, and then they decided, okay, we're going to form together, and we need trustees, and they sucked me into that.
Gotcha.
So I was sucked in from the beginning.
That's cool.
And then we needed a regime change and a president, and here we are. So
cool, man.
In the meantime, we've got all sorts of lawsuits in the pipeline, signing on to things and writing amicus briefs and being involved and trying to do our best to beat back the anti-2A legislation and ideas. It is all of that. In occupied territory where you and I live, there's not a lot of people that like to. There's a lot of people that like to go shooting and hunting, but it's not enough people, and a lot of, I'm sure it's the same down here in New Jersey, a lot of people are closet gun owners. We have a significantly large population of closet gun owners. We also have people that are afraid about what I described originally there, where I took those forms and put them in the drawer, and the reason I put them in the drawer was I was concerned about, what would the government think, right? What would the police think? What would the town think?
How am I going to... Right.
Is this going to put me on somebody's radar?
Somebody's list.
Right.
It's funny to me that, I teach classes, so people come to me and they're like, well, what do I put down for a reason to have a gun? I'm like, don't tell them you want to overthrow the government. Don't tell them you want to shoot zombies, and don't tell them you want to shoot clowns.
Right.
Other than that, anything is going to be okay. Anything that's not a crazy person reason. If you tell them you want to shoot zombies, you tell them you want to shoot zombies and clowns, you sound like a crazy person. If you tell them you want to overthrow the government, you sound like a crazy person. But I also say this: have a gun for those reasons. Just don't tell the police.
So that first form that I got back in 1980 something, maybe it was 90. It had a field on the form that said reason for
issuance. Right. What do you want a gun for?
They've done away with that since. Okay.
Wow.
But there was a thing at that point, and I was like, well, and there's, it was back in the day you used a typewriter to fill out a form, and I'm like, there's not enough space here to put everything I want to put in.
Right.
And I talked to my cousin in Connecticut, and he said, oh, it's very simple. All legal purposes. And I went, oh, poof, right? Like brain exploded.
No idea.
Like, oh, that just makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
So for those of you who may still have that field on your forms, all legal purposes, you've covered everything.
Right. In Massachusetts, the line we used to use is all lawful purposes.
There you go.
And it's the same thing. People say, what do you want a gun for? I want a gun for all lawful purposes. Okay, cool. I'm not a cop. I don't care why you want a gun. It's none of my business.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to have something other than, well, I've got a constitutional right to be able to keep bear arms. What do you want to do? I want to go hunting with my kids. Okay, cool. Right. What do you want to do? Well, my buddies are getting into target shooting. I like to go with them. Okay, cool. Like, these are non-threatening, non-crazy person reasons to have a gun, and that's what you want to...
My concern, though, was if I put down to go hunting and then I have to use the gun for self-defense.
Oh, am I going to get in trouble?
Am I going to get in trouble because I didn't put that reason down, right? Like, these are the things that run through...
Oh, a new person's head. Absolutely.
A new person's head, because you're doing something that's making you a little bit paranoid, right?
You're not really paranoid if they
are out to get you.
I love it. I had a friend of mine that took the class with me a while ago, and he's like, oh, what do I tell him? Tell him you just want to be able to protect. We live in a dangerous world. You want to be able to protect yourself.
Right.
Not crazy person reason. And then he's like, look, they said it was going to be this many weeks, and it's this many weeks. What do I do? Just call them up. Well, am I going to seem crazy? No, just call them up and say, listen, you guys said it was going to be in 2 weeks ago. I just want to check and see what the hang-up is. Just checking in on it, that's all.
Well,
that's it.
New Jersey has a legislative 30-day requirement for this system, and we regularly had towns exceeding that.
Oh, sure.
So
I hear this all the time on the Gun for Hire podcast.
Right. And in my opinion, the reason that they went and they changed the system recently was to try to eliminate the potential for lawsuits regarding this. By taking a lot of this out of the local police department's hands.
Yep.
So now you apply online. Your references get an email immediately. The town gets an email immediately, and the town sent me instantly a message that I needed to pay. I went for 3 permits, $6, $2 a permit.
Wow.
And I needed to, otherwise my application would not continue, right, until I paid. So I applied on day one. My references got their emails on day one. They responded on day one. I got the information from the town on day one. I had my wife drop off a check at town hall on day one. Okay?
Yep.
3 weeks ago, I'm like, geez, honey, did you get a receipt for dropping that check off?
Oh, no.
She's like, no, didn't think I needed to. You didn't? No, it was you didn't tell me to, but same thing, right? Like, well, I dropped the check off, what do I need to get? Right, it should be good.
The canceled check should be fine.
So I go on the bank account, thank God everything's electronic. Mm-hmm. Oh, that was cashed on the 17th of February. That was 2 weeks ago, so I emailed the town. Did you get my check? Crickets, of course, right?
Oh, right.
Ironically, though, like 2 days later, poof, the state pops up and sends me an email that says, your state background check has been completed. Well, that's the state background check. The local still has to say, okay.
Oh my God.
That's okay. 3 days later, poof, my town says, which my town is known for being fairly good.
Yeah.
They usually, so I'm at like day 25 now, and I just got notification this morning actually that my stuff is approved and ready to go.
Wow. All right, what are we doing here?
All
the way around and go back?
Let's. Yeah, no, I think we can go. We'll go like we're going straight through the middle of the circle. That way up there. Keep going 70.
So we're getting off 70?
No,
70?
no, that was 72. This is 70. You're going to come here.
Okay.
We were on 70. We're staying on 70.
All right.
So, 26 days. The law is 30. All good. I was ready to send them a. J-Factor put together a letter that references the legal language of what they might violate. Okay, and that's to be used after day 30. So I was ready. I was primed. I'm like, I'm ready. I hope I don't have to, but I'm ready, right? And thankfully I didn't have to do it. Yeah, but I hear other people still taking 6 months to get through. But now that the slowdown though is at their local police department. The thing that was the problem was that in certain towns in the state, they don't have a local police department. I'm sure now. I know Connecticut has that, where they have a resident state trooper instead of a local PD.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you dial 911 and it goes to the state police.
Right.
Sure.
So there's a couple of towns here in the southern and western sections of Jersey here where they don't have a police department. They rely on the state police.
Mm-hmm.
But can you believe this is Jersey? Or is this like Massachusetts?
It looks like nothing.
Right.
Not that it looks like nothing, but
it's,
we got trees, we got a road,
yeah,
we got cars.
Right, but you're not in
free America.
Well, we're not in free America, but we're also not in the Jersey that you normally think of, right?
Right.
You're not on a New Jersey Turnpike. You're not driving through refineries.
Right. We don't see Snooki. We don't see the situation.
Who?
Exactly.
They're from New York.
That's your excuse? That's your excuse.
That's
Jersey
my excuse.
Shore. They're from New York. That's what
the
subtitle is.
They are. Okay. They just vacation at the Jersey Shore. Okay. Yeah. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So
the process 31 days.
So 31 days you put in the letter, and some towns have been turning that around. I think the reason that the state put in this electronic system, which previously was a paper system and generated a 4-part pistol permit form, now you get an electronic permit.
Wow.
Which is, here's a number and go to the FFL and they put it in with the next check.
Right, it should be quick and easy.
It should be quick and easy, right? Like it's seconds. Like, so, but some towns are still. So what I was getting to was that the state police in those state police areas were notorious for taking even longer.
Oh my God.
Well, found out from one of our friends that they use this. They used to use this antiquated system that we would determine or call Pony Express. The permits would be done in Trenton, and they would take it and throw it in the back of a trooper's car and have him take it to the next barracks. Oh, well, only some of them will go into that barracks. These others will go into this other barracks.
God.
Now, how many times have you put something in the back of your car and forgot it was out?
Yeah,
you know.
A lot.
So it's like you said my pistol permits were issued. Where are they? Like, can we just agree that they're lost now? Thanks.
Right.
There should be any more. So this kind of alleviates that because now it's an electronic permit. It doesn't have to be delivered to anybody. So my feeling was that the reason this was because why does government ever make something easier?
Yes.
Right. It's the only reason they would do that is to avoid potential litigation, in my opinion. So I think that the reason they put this together was to try to speed the process, get it closer to the 30 days, in the hopes that they would stave off litigation that might tank the entire scheme.
Scheme. There we are again.
Well, yes, that word, right?
That's nuts.
Isn't it?
It really is.
Well, it is nuts, and thank God that my politicians haven't learned from your politicians, and we have a may not have list rather than a may have list.
Oh no, we got one of those too.
I thought you had a may only have. It doesn't have to be a Massachusetts approved firearm.
We have those.
Okay.
But we can get other guns as well. This is what's so screwy about the Massachusetts stuff. We have a list of guns that you can get from a dealer, but if you don't get it like you can get a gun through a private sale, and then it's okay to have. It's okay to get a gun. Like the big thing that.
So even if it's not on the list?
Yeah, if it's not on the list, it's not illegal to have it.
Oh, okay.
It's illegal for this is where it's so screwy. Okay. It's illegal for the dealer to transfer the gun to you, but it's not illegal for you to have it.
Okay.
And if anyone gets in trouble, it would be the dealer for transferring the gun to you.
Okay.
So this is I call it welcome to the Commonwealth. We're not going to say loophole. It's just a different way to do it.
That's what a loophole is.
Right.
Shh. Definitions.
There's another way too, but you can. For example, I think Gen 5 Glocks are on the list, so you cannot get a Gen 5 Glock from a dealer.
Okay.
But if you have a friend that's a police officer, he can buy it. I think it's maybe a 6-month period that he can have it and decide that he doesn't like it, and then he can turn and sell it to you, and it's not illegal for you to have it because it's done through a private transfer. But with the universal background check that people want to do, all of the transfers are going to have to go through a dealer,
right.
Which means the dealer now is going to transfer the gun to you, and then you can't get a Gen 5 Glock.
Right. Which is that's the scheme they finally put in place last year here.
Yeah.
Was that everything has to go through a background check. Oh, except family, direct family. So we got to find a. But if you do your family history, you can find enough.
How far removed from the family tree, right?
Right. And in New Jersey, we still have inheritance exception. So if my dad dies and I'm named in the will, or I am the inheritor, I inherit everything, no paperwork.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, in Massachusetts, if you inherit something, if you don't have a permit, you have 180 days to get a permit. And then you can take possession of that gun. It's so messed up, man.
It is. So the thing is, in New Jersey, it's a firearms purchaser ID card and a permit to purchase. You didn't purchase those; you inherited them.
So they're okay.
Providing they're legal in New Jersey, right?
Gotcha.
We still have, over 10-round magazines are problems, and there was no grandfathering.
Hey, we've had those since 1998, which after 94, in 1998, they permanently adopted the assault weapon ban.
Yes.
Nonsense.
Well, the assault weapon ban came out of New Jersey.
Get out.
Yes, exactly, right?
Wow.
Well, the legislation that was floated here was then used as the model for the nationwide assault weapons ban.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
That's all your fault.
Unfortunately, yes.
That's ridiculous, man. How do we get back to?
I think we're gonna find something in Papua New Guinea. Oh, you're not going fast enough for you.
I'm not going fast enough. It is a 55, and
You're only going 11 miles over.
Right. They don't know where I am.
We're not.
Look,
we're not broadcasting real time.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's live to tape.
Right.
Live to memory card.
You can cut that.
Yeah. Sure. I don't care. That'll be fun.
He's still past you.
I know, right?
I mean,
there's the guy you should get. And he's passing someone else.
Yeah, of course. Because he's in a rush.
He's in a real rush. Yeah. All right, so what else? Ridiculous stuff. Oh, so speaking of going to other states, we have a politician in Massachusetts that wants to bring the Massachusetts common sense gun laws to the rest of America. And on my Instructor Biz Facebook page, I listed all the stuff that we have in Massachusetts that he wants to export to free America. And magazine restrictions, assault weapon ban restrictions, guns that you can't buy.
Right.
I forget what else is on there.
10-round magazines. The whole thing.
The whole.
Right.
You can have a high cap magazine as long as it's 27 years old or older.
Where's the date engraved on the magazine? Have you ever seen one?
No.
Okay, so then anything. As long as the gun was made prior to.
Well, so I know someone.
I don't know what you're talking about.
that has high cap mags from a company that was around before 1994. So those might be okay to have, but if it was made by someone who was around after 1994, like Magpul, who was not around before 94, if they had a Magpul 30 rounder, then that would be illegal.
But if they had a Glock 30 rounder, it's fine.
Right. Well, unless you're a real Glock geek and you know that the U-notch ones were okay, and then the ones with the ambidextrous magazine release were not okay, and then the squared off ones were not okay. No. Do cops know all this?
Well,
no. Not unless they're gun guys, because not all police are gun guys.
And my experience has been, if you run into a gun guy, he's a gun guy.
He's not going to tell.
He's not going to be looking for them.
No.
Because he's a gun guy, okay? He knows, but he's going to be a gun guy, okay?
Right.
The guys that are not gun guys are the problem, but what can you do? The issue with any more gun control, for that matter, the gun control we already have, is that none of this, not one stitch of it, stops crime.
Zero.
All of this, and I feel like I'm preaching to the choir, right? But my hope is that some new gun owner sees this and has an awakening, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you see if you can pop a Huey coming up here?
All right.
There's like
there's got to be something.
There's a street there or something.
Is it a street?
Yeah, sure. That's a street right there.
Yeah, it was. All right.
So,
they have put these yellow signs up with the roads on it. That's all right.
You're looking for a sign in New Jersey? Okay.
So the sign.
Not one stitch of this stops criminals, because criminals are going to violate the law anyway. Right. Oh, and that criminal goes to court, and what's the first charge that gets dropped in New Jersey? The gun charge. Why? Why is that dropped first? Well, because those are Graves Act crimes, and the Graves Act has mandatory minimums that are like 7 years in prison and all this other jazz. So he gets banged up for, let's say, you're fine. Yeah. All right. For his drug possession or for committing a theft, but he doesn't get banged up for possessing an illegal firearm, right?
Right.
Or a defaced firearm, because those things are dropped immediately. Now you or I get picked up.
We got nothing else to barter with.
I don't know. Maybe all of a sudden there needs to be some resisting. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Don't follow my advice, but sometimes you need to have something to drop so that you can get to that lower charge, right?
So
I am not a lawyer. Okay? Do not take my advice. But the fact is that these recidivist criminals, and Cam does that show with Cam and Company.
Cam Edwards.
Cam Edwards does a show, and he talks about the recidivist report, right? And every time there's some guy, typically a guy, doing something again. He was out on parole and now he murdered somebody. He was out on parole and he did this. Or he was out on bail, right?
Yep.
And here he is illegally possessing an illegal firearm. So he's doubly illegal. And they're going to slap him on the wrist again and send him back out. Our
buddy Anthony Calandro likes to call it the revolving door of justice.
Yes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, it's particularly ridiculous because if it were you or I or Shaneen Allen, you'd sit in prison for goodness knows how long.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That just annoys.
There was I noticed this last summer. There was the town I live in, Massachusetts. We have a highway, a couple highways in our town, and we're near a border. There was a story about somebody that was arrested for sleeping in his car.
Okay.
On the side of the road. And I'm like, okay, there are rest areas, but he's doing the responsible thing because he's tired. He was from the south. I don't know where he was coming from. I don't know where he was going to.
But he pulled over.
He pulled over to get some sleep. And you're like, okay, What's the big deal? And then you keep reading the article and it says, well, they got him for illegal possession of a gun in Massachusetts in a high-cap magazine. And I'm like...
Oh, so that's why they got him for sleeping on the side of the road.
Then you find out, it's like the third paragraph in, you find out that he's got heroin. And you're like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, sleeping on the side of the road, not horrible. Got a gun, maybe doesn't know the gun laws in our state. And the ridiculous, assault weapon ban and high-cap magazine restrictions. But heroin, I think, is illegal everywhere. That's what they get him with. And of course, the gun charges, they can plead them right down and say, listen, I'll plead guilty to possession of heroin, throw out the gun charge.
Right.
Done.
Yep,
and then the gun charge never happened and doesn't show up. Done. And then our anti-gun politicians will say, "Whoa, we've got the lowest crime rate because we have strict gun laws. We have strict gun laws, which means you can't have heroin, and if you have heroin and a gun, we're going to get you for heroin."
Right. It boggles my mind, right?
Yes.
Like, oh, so we need another gun law to do the same thing again to that criminal
that he already did,
right? We don't need any more gun control. We don't need any more gun laws because it's not stopping the criminals.
It's not.
The example that I like to refer to is, okay, so how many people failed the next check last year, and how many of those were prosecuted? There's a legit charge there. Somebody failed the next check. Somebody went to go and buy a firearm and failed the next check. And the police, the prosecutors, whomever they are that are supposed to, are not following up on that. They're not tracking that down. They feel that they've done enough because they didn't get their gun. Okay.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So tell me again why we need universal background checks. Okay. Let's talk for a minute about how it was without universal background checks in New Jersey when the only background check you got was when you bought from a dealer. Well, if Charlie was a New Jersey resident and had a firearms ID card and I have a firearms ID card, we sit down, we compare notes, fill out our forms. One keeps one copy of the form, one keeps the other copy of the form, and by the way, now it's your rifle or shotgun.
Right.
Oh, you want to do that with a pistol? Well, you need a pistol permit. To get a pistol permit in New Jersey, you go through that process we talked about, 30 days, blah, 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 sometimes 60, sometimes 90, sometimes 6.5 months, depending on who's on the approving side, whether they're pro-gun or anti-gun. And yes, there were some police departments that would say, oh, little woman, why do you need a gun? So it was not just anti-gun, it was misogynistic. Okay?
Yeah.
So you get this pistol permit that says you've been background checked. It's only good for 90 days initially, or 180 max. Why can't we transfer firearms like we used to? We used to be able to do, because gun show loophole. Because universal background checks. You just had a background check to get that permit. Well, you need another one.
How many background checks do we have to go through?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Do you think that somebody fell through the one sieve and didn't get caught and now is going to get caught on the next one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
And then the, quote, New Jersey NICS system, which National Instant Check System. Instant right now means 2 to 3 days. It was up to weeks.
Wow.
During the height of COVID. Weeks. Yes. The state would occasionally post on the website, yes, we have 8,500 in backlog or whatever the number was. We're working on last Wednesday's checks or the week before's checks, and it was ridiculous.
That is cool.
We're adding people. Yeah, well, if you're adding people, then the number should be going down, right?
Right.
So how does that happen? How does the number keep going up day after day, but you're adding people? Oh, and then they don't work on holidays.
Right.
They
Rose was telling me if there's a state of emergency,
they don't
got to
work.
put Sanders out.
Right. If it's a state holiday, they don't work.
Federal holiday.
If somebody calls out, well, they called out. That's it. We don't backfill.
It's nuts, man. It is completely nuts.
It is. And it's a redundant system. And if you go back in the law and you read the law and you read why we have this system in New Jersey, the system was designed to make sure that everybody that got a gun had a background check done. And then the reason Nick's is in place is because of the Brady
bill.
In, what was that, 86? I want to say 86.
The assassination was what? Or assassination attempt was 81 or 82?
I don't remember.
Sometime
it was a Brady bill.
Right.
Okay, that put the national NICS check system requirement in place.
Right.
Because apparently John Hinckley just went out and bought that Rome 22 revolver, whatever. So why do they always want crappy guns?
I don't know.
So, I mean, come on, consult with someone.
I don't know, because they're more economical, right?
Apparently, right?
Well, maybe because they don't pass background checks, so they have to buy crappy guns from guys off the street.
He didn't buy it off the street. I'm sure there was no background check where he went
Probably
to buy
no background check. And up until then, I don't think he'd done anything illegal to prohibit him.
I don't think he had either.
Yeah.
He was just strange. But...
Oh, man.
But how many today that have... I don't want to go into school shooters. We're on the radar already. Let me just say.
Oh,
that.
Sure, yeah.
Right?
They're on the radar.
They're on the radar, but nobody has done anything.
So what difference? I hate to sound like Hillary Clinton. What
difference does it make?
What difference does it make? It doesn't make. If they're on the radar and nobody does anything, nothing still gets done.
Right.
And
Government can fail.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Can.
No.
Can. Yes, it can.
What I mean is, it's acceptable for government to fail, but if people fail, no, that's a problem. Okay.
Right.
So it's okay, for instance, for the government to take more than 30 days for your background check. But if your
taxes were late,
how'd you know where I was going with that, right? Like right on point. If your taxes are late, we're coming for you. Lien on the house, tax sale next month. Okay? That's why the taxes are listed first on them. Right? You have to pay your taxes, and then the mortgagee.
Right.
A mortgagor is listed.
It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of almost all mortgages require you to put your taxes in escrow so that they can make sure that they're paid.
They get their money.
Because they want to make sure that that's paid so that the state doesn't have a claim on your house ahead of them. Because that's how it's tiered. Right?
It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
All right, tell us about Cnjfo. We're going to start wrapping things up.
Let's wrap it up. Cnjfo was formed about 6 years ago. We came together, decided that we needed a Second Amendment organization in New Jersey that was centered around firearms education and overturn justifiable need. Justifiable need is that beautiful standard in New Jersey that people who have been kidnapped twice cannot meet. People who have documented death threats cannot meet in order to protect themselves and get a carry permit. So if you
I don't know how long you've been listening to Gun for Hire, but I've been listening for a long time. Evan Knappen likes to say that they issue the carry permit posthumously.
Yes. Unless you know somebody, you're connected to this particular Superior Court judge, you will likely get your carry permit, yes. But you will be literally the pink elephant, right? That's how rare it is in New Jersey. You have carry permits in Massachusetts? They issue them?
We have. So what we have, our place is almost as ridiculous. We have two types of licenses. We have a firearms ID card, which allows you to have non-large capacity rifles and shotguns.
Okay.
And then we have a license to carry, which allows you to have large capacity rifles, shotguns, and handguns.
Okay.
And a license to carry with no restrictions means you can carry a concealed firearm on your body.
Okay.
We don't have a carry permit, but you have to have a permit to purchase everything, even ammunition.
Okay.
We don't have to have it for BB guns,
right.
But you got to have a permit for everything else.
Right.
To purchase, possess, to own. Mm-hmm. If you want to go hunting, obviously you have to have a hunting license.
But they issue these things, depending on the town. Right?
They do. It's sometimes the cops drag their feet, sometimes the state drags their feet, and it's the whole. Well, they're dragging their feet. Well, no, they're dragging their feet.
Well, we have
so I always tell people, what I suggested to my clients, I say, listen, write down when you see do your interview with the police, ask them what the turnaround time is, write that down, put it on the calendar, and then when that day rolls up, just say, hey, listen, I just want to find out how long it's going to take. I just want to check. You guys said it was going to be this much time. I think they have 40 days. It might have bumped it up to 60 days. But you have this much time. What's the turnaround time? And if it's only going to be 5 weeks, then in 5 weeks I'm going to call again. And then, of course, like I said, my friend was like, well, what do I do? I don't want to sound like a crazy person. You're not a crazy person. You guys said it was going to be in 5 weeks. If it takes longer, let me know. You said 5 weeks. 5 weeks come, I just want to check.
Yeah. I mean, I had gotten to a point where I was well into my collecting days, and I was working for a general contractor who did federal work, so I was background checked by the GSA, the Veterans Administration hospitals, and then the GSA background check was not good enough for a particular organization on this floor, the Phoebes. So they did their own background check. Of course, though, their background check comes back the next day. So I'm background checked by the GSA, the VA, the FBI, and I'm waiting for pistol permits.
Oh my God.
Right. So at that point, I said, enough of this, and I wrote a letter to the mayor, and I just spelled it all out, and I said, this is baloney,
Yes.
I've been waiting 45 days on a 30-day wait, well, magically, my stuff's ready the next day. How is that possible?
Wow, how come they didn't do this
amazing.
14 days ago?
Right? So at some point, you don't care what they think of you anymore.
Yeah,
you just want your rights.
Just want your stuff.
I want my stuff.
You want to be able to do what everyone else is doing.
Right.
It's one time it's okay to keep up with the Joneses.
Not only that, at this point, you guys know the collection I have because you have a file in the local police department because of that 4-part P2P.
Yeah.
One of those was kept locally. You know exactly what I have. I've been checked already. What's the holdup?
What's the hang-up? Right.
What's one more at this point? Like,
I've already passed.
if you're over a dozen, what's one more?
Right.
If you're over 5, what's one more?
And it would be nice if they took the new people and cut them in front of the line and say, listen, this guy's already got 7 guns. Obviously, he's passed background checks. He's passed at least 7 of these things before. Let's get one of the new people in and try to get them up to 7.
Well, or why not just take the guy that's 7 and go rubber stamp and get him off the pile, and now you got a much smaller pile to deal with, because there's probably, if there's 30 forms in there, probably 20 of them are people that have done this already. Well, maybe not COVID, since COVID. But
right.
Originally, right? And it's like, come on,
man. It's ridiculous. All right, listen, how can people find Cnjfo? You guys do a lot of good stuff. You're trying to end
justifiable need.
Sorry. You guys do a lot of educational stuff. You do a lot of fundraising stuff, like the event today.
Yep. Cnjfo.com.
Cnjfo.com.
Cnjfo on Facebook. Cnjfo on MeWe.
You guys are on MeWe?
Cnjfo on Twitter. Well, you got to insulate yourself lately with this cancel culture thing.
Right.
So, we're looking at everything and trying to figure out how to, how would you call it? Fireproof?
Yes. Try to insulate yourself from all the stuff. What I've noticed with Parler, it seems like it's just news articles and people aren't putting up their personal stuff. Like, I've had friends switch over to Parler and then they request to follow you or like you or whatever, and you're like, I don't know who this guy is.
Right. Yeah,
so I'm like, now we're all a little more concerned about our privacy and
certainly there's a lot of that, right? Parler was doing great until they weren't doing great, and I understand they're back, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
since they've been back.
They've been back for a few weeks.
So I gotta dig back into that. To me, it was another Twitter. It was mirrored on the similar platform as Twitter. Right? It seemed like it was mostly bursts of ideas being put out there.
Twitter, to me, I never got Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I don't tweet. I don't pay attention to it.
Just shut down Twitter.
My deal is this: everyone's like, "Oh my God, Twitter moves so fast," and I'm like, "It moves so fast. I saw something. I can't find out I can't find what I saw, so it's gone." And to me, was really, I mean, I thought this for a long time. Twitter was just a place for people to argue. Not that people can't argue and all the other stuff, but it really seems like all the arguing was on Twitter.
I don't even feel like it's an argument. It's, let me put this
and drop a bomb.
Yes. Yeah. Let me throw this bomb over the wall and run away. Right.
Yeah.
It was you know, that kind of situation, and it just kind of like it was interesting to follow at times, but yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You know, if all you're going to do is cancel people and you know, shadow ban them and do all this other stuff,
it's ridiculous.
I don't need that.
Totally.
And then I'm concerned about, you know, how these other social media groups are cutting things off, just canceling people and shutting them down.
Shutting them off.
Yeah, and basically erasing them. So it's like, come on.
It's nuts.
It is.
It is.
I can't believe it's a free country.
A free country.
Doesn't seem free.
It doesn't seem free. All right, we're going to pull over here where we're not supposed to pull over, and we're going to wrap things up.
Cool.
So, people can check out Cnjfo at cnjfo.com.
Correct.
Awesome. Please check out all of the other shows on the Self-Defense Radio Network. Please make sure that you like and share Riding Shotgun with Charlie with all of your people. If you want to buy some Riding Shotgun with Charlie stickers, ridingshotgunwithcharlie.com. And Gun Gram stickers, I have those there as well. And I have some patches. You can get those at the Riding Shotgun with Charlie. These are all for ya.
Oh, wow. And
oh my God, look at this, the 2A4E. You can get these from Tony Simon. From the Second Amendment is for everyone. On the front, we get the Cnjfo patch. There's another one over there. It's just a
that's a pin. Like a
pin.
Recognition pin.
Awesome.
Okay.
Very cool. So check out Cnjfo, check out Riding Shotgun with Charlie, check out 2A4E. That's Tony Simon, another great guy down here in New Jersey. Thanks for watching the show. Please share it, please like it, and let's get the stagecoach across America. Buy some goodies.
Excellent.
Dan, thank you so much for being on the show, man. We'll talk to you guys later.
Excellent.